Hi, and welcome to another version of Boardman Outlook. Today we thought we'd try something a little bit different. We're sitting in the township building where our meetings are, and we're just going to have some conversations about upcoming events and some successes recently in our different township departments. Gentlemen, unless you have something specific?
No, we'll get right to it.
Okay, we're going to start off with our police chief. Our police chief is Mr. Jack Nichols. And Jack, tell us some good things going on over in the police department right now.
Thanks, Mr. Costello. Well, probably the number one thing here today, a few minutes after we complete this taping, we're going to swear in 3 new police officers. That will leave us with a total of 59, which is actually more than was promised at the passing of our police levy. And that's been accomplished by some creative financing. We got a nice COPS grant 2.5 years ago that has been extended for us and allowed us to keep that money and spend it rather than have it die with the grant. So it's been a good thing. We also assigned an officer, Paul Polis, full-time to the high school. And the cost of that officer is being shared by the township and the school system. So in effect, we added another officer because of that. So we're going to swear in 3 new ones tonight, and hopefully in another 2 weeks we'll have another one to swear in for a total of 4 new police officers. The program that I mentioned with Paul Polis being assigned to the school so far has just been a great success by all accounts. We've managed to establish a very good police presence in the schools between assigning him, and then daily we have officers go to every school building in Boardman, public and private, for a 20-minute to 30-minute period of time at a random time to patrol the school on foot, get to talk to the teachers, and a little bit of a benefit to us is then the officers get to know what the school buildings are like, because some of the buildings are large, and if you're not in them frequently, you can get lost in them. So that police presence in the school system has really been a big improvement, and the school's very happy with it, and it's basically thanks to encouragement by the board that we've managed to work up to this. So I thank you for that. We continue to refine our new communication center and radio system. We've talked about it a few times. You know, it's been about a 2-year project. It cost about $1.6 million, and we're in conjunction with Austintown in that project, and Boardman's share of that cost has not cost the taxpayers anything. We've done all of that funding through grants and seized funds. So essentially, we've allowed the criminals that have victimized Boardman, we've seized money from them, we've allowed them to pay for that huge expense that otherwise would have fallen on the taxpayers. I need to periodically mention something that kind of gets lost in the shuffle. Boardman participates in 3 federal task forces to a large extent. The FBI task force, the DEA task force, and the Marshals task force. And we have 2 officers assigned to each task force, which is a pretty big commitment for the township. But you know, crime and criminals don't just stay in Boardman. They're kind of a regional type thing where they cross borders and they go into different communities and they come here from different communities. And the participation in these task forces really allows us to deal with criminals much more effectively. The government pays a large portion of the salary of the officers that are assigned. As you know, this year they gave us 2 brand new vehicles, just gave them to the township for our participation in It's been a really good commitment by the township. I think we really see a lot of benefit from our participation in these task forces. It allows our officers to engage in technical investigations, allows them to access federal resources, and a lot of these things wouldn't be available to our community if we did not participate in the task forces. So the police department seems to be on track to respond to about 40,000 calls this year, maybe a little bit more. And so we're very busy over there, but we're managing, you know, thanks to the recommitment of resources to keep up with it, and it seems like things are going well.
Great. Thank you.
One thing I can mention is that the school system, I've talked about it in the past shows, and I'll continue to say it, is that the staff and the students appreciate the presence, and it's not a disturbance at all. Now when you see a police officer walking through, it's not a disturbance. The kids say hi, they talk to them. And it's a welcome benefit that I think that we're providing to them, but it's really bringing everything at ease. And knowing that an officer just walking the halls, normally, 5 years ago, that would have brought a lot of, questions. Today, it's a calming factor.
I think the other thing too, when I listen to the chief talk about some of the things that we're doing, our 2016 plan, which, when we did a strategic plan, and everyone says, well, communities can't do strategic plans. Well, yeah, we've proven it that you can. And a lot of things that I'm hearing from the chief are things that we've been talking about for years that are part of this plan. And it's all really about kind of thinking into the future and thinking, out of the box a little bit. We've talked about wanting to partner with other communities, which we did with this radio system. We talked about partnering more with the school, which we're doing, partnering with other law enforcement agencies like we're doing with the task force. I mean, it really has worked out really well. And I love the fact that we're sticking to that plan.
Right. Well, I think the 2016, it's been a work in progress. And, shortly, I guess we're going to have to rename it. Mm-hmm. But it certainly, it's been the guiding factor is where we're heading.
What's been the roadmap that we've worked by since we've been together? And I think it's been successful.
Right.
So, next we have our fire chief, Mark Bitzer. And Mark, I'm not going to call you our new fire chief because you've settled in now. It's been, 2-3 months?
Yes, sir, 3 months.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
What's going on in your department?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would take this opportunity now just kind of do a year-in review. There's been some significant changes in the fire department over the past 10 months. Starting off in January, we hired 2 new firefighters, Bob Patrick and Joel Wary. In February 14, we had the retirement of Assistant Chief Timmy Drummond, who retired and had over 30 years of service here in the Boardman Township Fire Department. Due to that retirement, we did have some promotions that came about. Brian Barber, he was a captain. He was promoted to assistant chief. A firefighter by the name of Rob John, he was promoted to captain as people moved forward. And then in May, we had the announcement from Fire Chief George Brown that he was going to retire and sort of a process to hire a new fire chief. In July, I was named the new fire chief. I was sworn in on July 28th. And looking forward to the future of the Boardman Fire Department. Thus far, the Boardman Fire Department has responded to over 3,300 calls this year for service. This includes EMS calls, vehicle accidents, vehicle fires, building fires, residential or commercial, fire alarms, service calls relating to carbon monoxide, gas leaks, wires down, etc. We do respond to house lockouts also, and we do respond to hazmat incidents as well. I do want to address some of the concerns that people have had about with fire trucks responding to medical calls. And this is something that has been questioned a few times this year. And the reason is we have significant call volume during the day to where there are 2 ambulances. Land Light Trans provides the township, a private company, they provide 2 ambulances. And there's times where we have back-to-back calls and multiple calls going on at once. So the fire department responds to these medical emergencies, and we've seen positive gains by our personnel responding to these medical emergencies. We've had 4 saves alone this year. We had a gentleman in cardiac arrest at Planet Fitness. We had a gentleman in cardiac arrest on the golf course. And we had a drowning that our personnel removed the female from and started CPR and saved her. And we had a gentleman playing bingo at St. Luke's Church going to cardiac arrest, and our personnel responded. So it's definitely a benefit to our community and to our residents that our fire department responds as we provide EMS protection also above and beyond fire. We responded to several major fires this year, including 2 commercial fires. One was at the Allstate building on Market Street, and the one was at Angels Carriers. Our personnel have done a great job on these incidents. We've had 1 firefighter that was injured this year due to a floor collapse and fell through the floor. He's recovering, he's back to work. Thus far to date, the property loss is $3.4 million. That's pretty significant. We've had some significant fires here in Boardman Township this year. Out of our fire prevention office, there's been 112 building permits issued this year. There's been a lot of development, a lot of growth, a lot of remodeling, and a lot of new construction going on in Boardman Township. And, our personnel, our fire department, our fire prevention office is doing the best we can to keep up with this growth. So we've also continue to work on the inspections of our businesses, our restaurants, our apartment complexes. We have over 3,300 businesses here in Boardman Township and over 500 apartment buildings. So with 2 personnel in our fire prevention office, they have a heavy workload. Also this year, we received a grant in an amount of $20,000 that we use for training. This training we use for confined space rescue, hazardous materials rescue, and alternative fuel vehicle training. So we've been very busy this year. And part of our 2016 plan, we've been addressing an issue we've had for many years about needing a new fire station, a new main fire station on 224. Myself and Jason Lurie, we've put together a little committee of firefighters to help us in working with them as consultants, and we're in the process of coming forth with a plan to bring to you all as far as a renovation, a remodel, or building a new fire station. So hopefully we can have that to you shortly. Also, we've been working on some of the things for our ISO rating, our public protection classification. Right now, we're rated at a 5, and we're looking to reduce that here in the near future. The public protection classification deals with our staffing levels, training, how many fire stations we have, and the equipment that's inside those fire stations, our water supply, the inventory of the equipment that we do have, and our agreements with mutual aid departments that surround us to help us when we have large fires. So, lastly, tonight we will be swearing in a new firefighter by the name of David Italiano. He will be replacing my spot that I left vacant as my promotion.
Very good.
One thing I would ask, as our resident expert on insurance, when we talk about ISO ratings and how that really affects, the average homeowner in Boardman.
Well, the homeowner and businesses. ISO sets ratings anywhere from 1 to 10. 1 means you live between a police station and a fire station. 10 means there's a fair chance they can save your basement in the event of a fire. And so the higher the number, the higher the insurance costs. Boardman's very fortunate having a protection class 5 currently, which keeps our rates very competitive. If that rate were to be reduced or status to a protection class 4, we would all see a reduction in our homeowners' rates. And once again, we think about 50% of Boardman is also commercial and industrial. So that means all of our businesses are going to see a reduction in their insurance rates also. Something everybody should be very happy with and thrilled that the chief and his folks are working towards.
And some of those recent purchases, like the ladder truck, that's something that goes towards that. I mean,
Yes,
hopefully we don't have a need for the ladder truck, but
Right.
owning the ladder truck and having it available for some of our bigger structures obviously will help
Yes,
that ISO rating, correct?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Very good. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Now we'll move on to our road department, Mr. Larry Wilson, our road superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Cassell. I don't have such an exciting report to give you as the police and the fire do, but we are ready in the road department for something that everybody knows is coming here. Just shortly, I watched some of the Weather Channel this morning, and South Dakota is getting dumped on as we speak right now. 8 to 12 inches they're expecting up there. So we don't have quite what Minneapolis did. I happened to see a report on the weekend that Minneapolis, Minnesota stockpiled over 400,000 tons of road salt this year in anticipation of a bad winter like we had last year. But we did do our share. We just took the final truck came in on Friday of the 4,500 tons that we had scheduled through the summer fill, which we got at a fairly decent price, $42 a ton. And we're starting to mix that. We had a couple hundred tons of slag on hand. We've mixed it with that, doubling that salt. And we have just started today to receive an allotment of 200 tons of treated slag, which is treated with brine. So we're going to set that aside and see how that works on the road to make a determination as to what we want to do in the future. And along with that, we've ordered another 500 tons of anti-skid just to boost it up. And now if you add all those together, you'll see that we're gonna work it up. As we mix it, we'll have well over 6,000 tons available to the township to put on the roads for the winter. And we hope that that's going to be enough and that we can handle it. Well, the cold air is one thing, but the snow is a whole different thing, and we're going to try our best, as we always have in the past, to maintain the roads and, open them up and make sure that people can get through from place to place, and hope that is enough. We're not sure. We do have a standby of 500 tons of salt from the state of Ohio. The state of Ohio went this year and purchased 171,000 tons of salt from an Indiana company because they couldn't get a price from the Ohio companies. And they've made it available to all government agencies throughout the state. And we had to solicit for that. Now, it's a no minimum type of thing. We put in for 500 tons, and if we don't need the 500, we don't have to take it. And I'm hoping we don't have to take it simply because that's at $105 a ton. So it's a little less than what it was before, but a lot more than what we've paid for what we have right now. So we're hoping that gets us through and makes it through this whole winter, because I'm hoping we have a decent winter and not a bad winter, because I'm hoping the salt companies can get stuck with a little bit of salt to bring the price down for next year so we can refill that. Other than that, we right now under the auspices of the Board of Trustees, we're into our leaf season, and that started on the 18th of October. It's going to go through the 21st of November, and we're about right in the middle of it, giving everybody at least 4 pickups throughout the township, picking up their leaves. Just about everybody in the road department right now works on that program. Each and every day we go out. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and I'd like to thank everybody, that's watching that's a veteran, and say we thank them for their service. But tomorrow we won't be out, but we will pick up Tuesday's run on Wednesday. We'll do both routes, Wednesdays and Tuesdays. We just now have over just about 12,000 bags we've collected already, and that number will probably double by the time we're ended. So having said that, it's a leaf season that a lot of other communities have dropped because we lost the money from the funding with the green team. But our Board of Trustees were kind enough to say, let's do this, and we have that available to the township residents. We also have Elliott's Garden Center, that people can drop it off themselves if they so choose. We have a contract with him to take all our leafy debris and things like that. And we've been pretty successful with that, and the people really do appreciate the fact that the board has seen fit to make sure they have someplace to take it if they can't get them picked up.
Very good.
Well, one thing I'd like to say is I want to thank Larry really he had the understanding that salt may be going this way. He came to us early in the year and says, we paid for salt 27 last year.
Right.
I can fill a barn up for 44. And we all went, whoa, that's a big increase in price. But you suggested it might even go higher. So we went ahead and filled our barn. And I have to say, we're probably one of the only government entities in Mahoning County that has salt at $44. I mean, I think if I stand correct, someone actually offered to buy some of our salt from us.
We've had a couple of communities approach me to take a few hundred tons off of us here and there, but
the majority of the
we've had
communities
an
are buying it at $105.
That's what the going price for the state is right now, is
So
105.
I really want to thank you, I guess, for bringing that to us back in the spring and having the, wisdom to say it looks like it's going to go higher. I mean, it cost us more, but it saved us a tremendous amount of money, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, they do say wisdom comes with age, so.
Yeah, that's true. And I do want to thank you for the leaf thing. It's not an easy thing for your road department. They're just catching up from last winter.
Correct.
Let alone doing something that no other community is doing, because almost every community has dropped the leaf program from the green team. And,
Right.
we do see it as a necessary function, but I guess, publicly, it may be something we may have to see go by the wayside just because of the funding. Green team has just canceled nearly, half of our funding?
Absolutely, yeah, we're down to half right now.
So, and it's maybe the last year.
Yeah.
We'll see how things look next year.
It's a year-to-year basis.
And I think the other part about that is not just the cost of the road salt, but the cost of paving. I mean, the cost of maintaining the roads have increased just ridiculously high. And I think as we move forward, you try to budget for a couple of years' worth of understanding what your costs are going to be, but the costs are doubling and tripling, and sometimes with salt even more than that. it's going to make it tough for us, and we're going to have to try to figure out a way to continue to be creative. And I like some of the other materials that you're talking about using, for example. But the cost of paving especially has really gone up a lot. We've been talking about that. But I do have a question, Larry. You said that you have 6,000 tons of material. I know last year was a horrible winter, and I hope we don't ever see anything like that again, but what did we end up using last year?
7,000.
About 7,000, okay, good. So hopefully, if it's not quite as bad as last year, we should make it on that.
We're hoping, yeah. I would really love to see us make it through this winter with no additional purchases through the state. I've already told the state, be in contact with them, that would be our backup for the end of the season rather than, going through the season, but we're hoping that it works out that way. I mean, last year was an extraordinary year, we all know that, and everybody was just about out. Well, in fact, we borrowed salt from the state towards the end of the season this past year, and we're able to pay them back with an order that we got in right at the end. So it kind of worked out in our favor. But the summer fill, which we went into, was a great deal for us. They don't always offer that to us. The summer fill is usually a program that they basically only offer to the state garages, but they opened it up to everyone, and that was a plus for us. So we're just fortunate that we were able to do that.
Well, and I'm going to echo what Brad said too, thank you, because I think what a lot of folks maybe don't realize is when you're talking about some of these decisions, you're dealing with the township's money as if it was your own.
Absolutely.
And how we could save money and stretch the dollars as far as we can, so I appreciate that.
Very good. Thank you. Moving along, our zoning department, our zoning inspector, Sarah Gartland.
Hi, yes, thank you. I am very proud of the accomplishments of our department this past year. We have a lot of support from the community and from the board to proactively address changes to our community and try and get ahead of changes to preserve the integrity of our neighborhoods. One of the biggest changes this year is our landlord registration program, which aims at preserving our communities due to changes in home ownership in the mortgage industry. We're looking to preserve the integrity of our neighborhoods regardless of them being owner-occupied or rented. And this will also help maintain property values so that our responsible landlords feel comfortable with their investment in our properties and in our community. And the primary way landlord registration works is it allows us to keep a current working list of contact information for landlords and property managers. The majority of poor maintenance issues we resolve through contact, and this will allow us to improve contact for out-of-town landlords or landlords that are difficult to get a hold of, and in that way everyone would benefit. And the secondary aim is to pursue violations that we can't remedy through communication through our court system. This landlord registration will require certain living standards. Boardman is a nice place to call home, and the aim is for that to be true whether you rent or buy in Boardman Township, that all housing in Boardman is safe and sanitary. And this gives us additional tools in our zoning toolbox to meet that goal. So this is something that we worked through and put together this year. The other program that we are working towards, and it started last month really, is our Boardman Land Bank. And this is a new concept for us. Land banks are something that have been around in the law since the 70s. They are a tool to help a community deal with vacant, neglected, abandoned, and delinquent properties. Rather than seeing something sit there in a decrepit state, this is a tool that allows the township to take ownership of certain properties with our priorities in mind of preserving the integrity of neighborhoods and redevelopment. And this gives us a tool to help acquire those properties that are neglected for an unforeseen amount of time in the future and get them going along towards something more beneficial to our community, more beneficial to our neighborhoods. This is something that we plan to use in conjunction with our currently ongoing demolition program and zone change program to help stabilize neighborhoods, preserve character in our neighborhoods, and this is something unique though because we actually will have the opportunity to take ownership of abandoned, neglected parcels. And we look forward in our zoning office to building new relationships with investors, homeowners associations, neighborhood groups, to figure out the best way to turn these neglected properties into something beneficial for everybody. So we currently, our land bank in Boardman has one property right now, very new, but it works in other communities, and we are excited to really get it off the ground in the coming year.
Great.
I just want to appreciate the fact that a lot of things that we're doing, whether it's landlord registration or some of the zoning changes or the demos that we've done, I appreciate Sarah and your staff for really being as transparent as you could possibly be, getting lots of input from the community, and really some of the input that we've gotten from the people who are the renters, but also some of the things around zoning. We're really taking a lot of those ideas and implementing them.
Absolutely. This is an opportunity to serve and make a difference to the community, and we are here to serve everyone in our community, be they business owners, renters, landlords, everybody. So we are definitely excited to work with anyone who is interested.
One of the things I appreciate is the zoning has been the demolition program. How many homes have we taken down now in the last 12,
In the
18
last
months?
12 months or so, we've taken down 18 homes. We have 3 more slated to go. We're kind of out of time for this season. We have 3 more ready to go for early next spring. And the winter is usually harsh on vacant properties. We expect after this winter to have more to work on next year.
That's awesome. I think taking down those 21 homes that just were eyesores to that community, obviously it's going to raise the property value, and it's going to make the neighbors obviously very appreciative.
Yes, there are studies out there that confirm that vacant properties bring down home values and increase the rate of foreclosures. So by eliminating vacant, uncared for properties as soon as possible, we stabilize our neighborhood.
And it's going to be exciting watching new buildings go up and people reinvesting in Boardman again.
Absolutely, we love development.
Yes. Well, as you can see, the township's very well taken care of with our tremendous leadership in our different departments. And speaking briefly from the administrative standpoint, our administrator, Jason Laree, our deputy administrator, Stephanie Landers. What's going on in administration?
Well, besides some of the stuff you've heard tonight and trying to keep an eye on all the departments and all the different initiatives we take on at Boardman Township, sometimes I get to do some extra work. One of the things that we do at the administration that's normally outside of the scope of what we would say our township day-to-day operations, we're working with Austintown and Canfield with and it's called the ABC Water and Stormwater District. And what we're trying to do is deal with an issue that has been a problem in Boardman Township for years with flooding and during our storms and with retention systems and detention systems. It's not the most exciting thing to talk about, but it is something that impacts every home, every business in the community, about making sure the infrastructure is able to handle the loads of water that come associated with storms. And most people don't think snowstorms accumulate water, but I'm going to tell you what, from some of the folks I've talked to that enjoy using some of the facilities at the lakes, like Lake Berlin or Meander, the water tables were up because of the large snow we've had last year, which does play an impact on our stormwater facilities. So again, it's not the most exciting thing we do in Boardman Township, but it is something working in conjunction with other communities. One of the other fun things we get to do in the township is we work with all the departments in the fiscal office, and it's in accordance with our 2016 plan. We're working on our capital initiative. And essentially, we have our strategic plan that talks about some of the things we'd like to do for the community. And we've accomplished quite a bit. The capital plan really deals with the stuff, the things that we need to be able to do what we do in each department. That goes from vehicles, that goes from infrastructure, that actually goes down to some of the things we do for the paving and demolition. It's the money to do the stuff that the department needs. So it's another part of the budget that we work with. And we're working on that now. We'll hopefully have a 5-year plan. And that's pretty much some of our things we do in administration. It's keeping an eye on all the departments and working with them and the trustees in the fiscal office. But I do get some fun projects, and those are just examples of some 2 that I'm working on that are a higher priority.
Great. And you mentioned the fiscal office, and in all honesty, since this group has been together, the 4 of us have worked so well together to keep the checkbook balanced. But the gentleman whose real responsibility to that is our fiscal officer, Mr. Bill Light. And Bill, could you give us just a real quick overview of how we're doing?
Sure. So far, this year, we have spent a little over 75% of our operating budget. Now, if you look at what we had originally appropriated, 100% of that divided by 12 months is roughly 8% a month. So you would expect to have, at this point, about 84%. We're running a little below.
Good.
Because we've been watching what we spent. I know the department heads have been very cooperative with us in putting all of this together. We're starting to move forward with some additional employment tonight, bringing that up. So I think we're going to be in good shape. As far as the carryover, this year we have put $170,000, almost $200,000 into the capital project for just to keep the police officers cool in summer, and we just got it working. So, they'll be fine for the rest of the year. But that was Jason's fault. We gave the money in April, but he didn't use it. Other than that, everything else is in pretty good shape. We're now getting ready to go into the budgeting process. We're working with Jason very closely in looking at every department. We're going to be meeting with the department heads to discuss their needs. Now, we've had our foot on the brake pretty well for the last 2 years, and quite frankly, without new money, it isn't going to get better. And people, when I tell them that, and then I say, we have a carryover of $4 million, their eyes light up, and they say, well, if we have $4 million at the end of the year, we shouldn't be bad. But if everyone remembers, the way our funding works is we don't collect a dime in January, February, and March from any taxation. So imagine your own paycheck going 3 months without cash. You have to have that in your savings account to make it through. That $4 million will get us through that first 3 months of the year. And if we don't have that in the bank, we're in serious trouble. So, and we ask the department heads to make sure that they don't buy unless it's absolutely necessary to get through. And up to this point, we've never, ever had a problem with any of them. So, I think we're in good shape. We're status quo. We're not gonna be lavishly spending. We do have some capital expenditure requirements. You've got the fire department looking at 2 new trucks coming up very shortly. We found out a couple of years ago that it's going to be important to us to change truck bodies on the trucks. We didn't go to stainless steel until our last purchases, and at what, $15,000 a piece, we're going to have to replace those. The trucks run longer than the beds do, so we can put a plow on them, but maybe we can get that done this year. We're putting together our capital plan. We're going to throw that over to the think tank and see how we're actually going to fund that come in the future, in the very near future. I think it's got to come sooner rather than later. So as far as the year goes, we're in good shape. We'll get through the end of the year. We'll get through March. We have our year-end closing that takes about a month for us to do. So we're going to be ready to go, and hopefully if anybody has any questions, we'll have the answers for you, and if not, I can tell you a bedtime story.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, my last thought really is the fact that, I've had the honor of serving here in Boardman for 7 years as a trustee. And what it does is it gives you an opportunity to spend a lot more time getting to know these folks up here and the work that they do every day for the township. And as a taxpayer and someone who lives in Boardman and has raised my family in Boardman, I'm just very proud of being a part of this team and being a part of what all of you do every day for the people who live in Boardman. So, and every time we have a chance to talk about some of the successes like this, it just makes me keep thinking about that.
No, I look forward to, next year, really, but I appreciate what you say, Bill, about the capital. And I think over the years, we've kind of slighted the capital expenses and with the financial, kind of recovery we're having now. But needless to say, the state didn't give that money back that they've taken from us. I mean, they've taken several $1 million from us each year that we used to bring in. And now it's time for us to come up with a new plan to try to pay for these capital expenses.
Oh, that's right. Up till now, the types of expenditures that we've had to make are really Band-Aid type. But the more Band-Aids we use, the bigger the holes get, and now it's time we're gonna have to face it. And, hopefully we can come up with a plan that's suitable for everyone living here in Boardman.
Very good. Call to order the November 10th meeting for the Boardman Township Trustees. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And since we have a full room, I'd like to make a few quick acknowledgments. First off, tonight's meeting is actually being televised and recorded by the Boardman Schools Television Network and will be replayed over the next month. So we want to thank them for being here and coming out to record this, and you can watch this event later on Channel 204. Also with us tonight, I want to recognize is our retired former Mahoning County Sheriff, Sheriff Wellington. Thank you for your service. Speaking of service, we would like to, as the board, recognize any veterans that are with us this evening. In fact, if any veterans would please stand, we'd love to give you a round of applause. Thank you for your service. Also going to acknowledge tonight, we're so fortunate Boardman is served by so many wonderful employees. We have several with us tonight. Several firefighters and police officers are lining the side and the back of the room, and quite honestly, I'd like to applaud them for keeping us safe every day. Thank you. And last but not least, Boardman is very proud to have some very active neighborhood associations. And we have two of the heads of those associations that I noticed sitting with us tonight. Howard is head of the North Block Watch in Boardman, which is the group from Overhill going towards Midlothian. And then Carl, back in the back, is the head of the Block Watch over at Good Hope Lutheran Church. Thank you for what you do in those neighborhoods. Now, I'll quit talking for the real reason everybody's here tonight. First, we have a swearing in of a firefighter, David Italiano. David, would you please come forward? And I think Mr. Light has some words for you.
I state your name.
I, David Italiano,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution
that I will support and defend the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Ohio
and the state of Ohio
against all enemies,
against all
both
enemies,
foreign and domestic,
both foreign and domestic.
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties
I will faithfully and impartially defend my duties
as firefighter
as firefighter
of the Boardman Township Fire Department
as the Boardman Township Fire Department
under the appointment
of
the Boardman Township Trustees,
the Boardman Township Trustees,
according to the laws of the state of Ohio,
according to the laws of the state of Ohio,
Boardman Township,
Boardman Township,
and Mahoning County,
and Mahoning County,
to the best of my skills and abilities,
to the best of my skills and abilities,
so help me God.
so help me God.
We're going to congratulate the first, and then he talks us
Mark, did you have a couple words you'd like to say about our newest member?
Absolutely. It is with great pleasure that I announce the swearing in of David Italiano of the Boardman Fire Department. Over the last 2 months, David has endured rigorous interview process and has completed all the necessary pre-employment testing with ease. He's been very impressive through this whole entire process. David is 23 years of age. He grew up right here in Boardman, and he attended Catholic schools growing up. David is a graduate from Cardinal Mooney High School, and he is currently attending YSU, where in 1 month time from now, he will be receiving his bachelor's degree in marketing.
Wonderful.
David also attended the Youngstown Fire Department Training Academy, where we received his firefighter training, which is a tremendous program, and I know we learned some good, valuable skills going through that program. David's parents blessed him with 5 siblings. He has 3 sisters and 2 brothers, and I'll let David introduce his family after the ceremony here. And like I said, thus far I've been impressed with David's excitement and enthusiasm, and he will be a tremendous asset to the fire department.
Great. Thank you, Chief. One introduction I failed to make is the retired police chief for Youngstown State University is with us, Jack Ocala. Jack? And if anybody was worried about getting pictures, we're going to do the next round of swearing-ins. We're going to take a recess, get the chairs out of the way, all the family can get their pictures, and then we'll go on after that is all done with our normal meeting. So at this time, we have swearing in of 3 police officers. Would those 3 gentlemen please come forward? Evan Beal, Daniel Baker, and Nicholas Newland.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Nick Baker,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
to the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of police officer
of the office of police officer
and constable
and constable
of the Township of Boardman,
of the Township of Boardman,
acting to the best of my ability.
acting to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And before you seated, I think Chief Nichols has a few words.
I'd like to just take a minute and present these officers, these new officers with their credentials and a badge. I want there's one for each of them, that's what it looks like. So this one's for Evan, and for Dan, and for me. The strength of the Boardman Police Department is the officers. That's what it's all about. And like Mark explained about the firefighter, you guys have been through a pretty strenuous hiring process, and we're proud to have you on. I hope you find the home with Boardman Police that I have. So, good luck. Congratulations.
Well, I'll say that would wrap us up for another month. Thank you so much, and on behalf of all the officials in Boardman Township, I hope everybody has a blessed and safe and happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you next month. Thank you.